Drew Roy, let's just put it this way. Drew Roy and I met at the Foreman Golf event several years ago, and I had never seen little girls and women fawn over someone as much since the Beatles back in the 60s at the Shea Stadium. It's unbelievable. But Drew Roy, of course, back then was another life, was a boyfriend of Hannah Montana, but he is now one of the truly rising stars on television and Falling Skies. And Drew, it's just such an honor to watch your career just go like this. How are you?
I've been great. Yeah, it's been a good transition. I mean, Hannah Montana, that whole thing was great, but doing Falling Skies is definitely more in the vein of what I want to do. So it's been absolutely amazing.
You know, one of the things that is, I think, a wonderful sign too. It's one thing when older so-called celebrities get involved in events, but when young, and you're young stars get involved, it says a lot about the maturity level and the sense of how they look at their careers. Tell us about that.
No, it's definitely always great. I mean, you're put in a pretty amazing position, so to be able to give back is always very nice. When I was working on Lincoln Heights, Rick Ravenello played my father.
Rick who?
Rick Ravenello. And so he invited us down for the Foreman tournament, and ever since, I've just been coming back, because like I said, it's always a nice thing to be able to be involved in these things, and you guys aren't bad company, so it's always fun. Well,
when we played a few years ago, you just started playing golf. How's your game now?
I play once a year. It's for that tournament. This is going to be the second time this year.
Yeah, I think that's courage. If you were to say one thing to somebody who's wondering, with all the different people after your money for different causes, to inspire them to give to something like the Shadows Foundation, which helps people who are mounting bills and having to fight not only cancer and other life-threatening illness, but their own bills, what would be the message you give them?
You know, people cruise around life and everything's good, and then, you know, you can't see these things that just sort of come out of left field and debilitate you. And so to be able to give back is always nice. So, you know, you take for granted just the everyday walk with life and how easy it is. So to be able to give back is always a great thing.
This is a little bit more personal, but I'm not going to mention names, but there's some, it's almost a cliche that very successful artists, including musicians and athletes and actors, take for granted their success and fall into drugs and fall off the wagon of success. What keeps you focused, and what do you think is different about the way you look at your career?
You know, I'm from Alabama, so I was quite blessed to be raised in that part of the country. I think the morals and values down there are really stressed, and I've always surrounded myself with people who keep a positive attitude. So it really doesn't make any sense to me to be able to go down those roads. I mean, I know it's very it's very often that artists do that, sort of an exploratory kind of thing, but I feel like I live enough life on my own to be able to cover that, and just with the way I was raised, it's never been a thing. So
in other words, if you're living a life where you feel you're doing the things that make you feel the best, you don't feel the pull of having to experiment in other directions. Definitely,
yeah. It's I mean, we all sit back and enjoy a drink, but I think that's as far as you need to go, you know. And even that, you need to keep a cap on it. So that's the way I look at it. And also, I mean, if you have enough on your table that consumes the amount of time that you have in a day, you don't need to be messing around with something that's going to slow you down. And the competition is pretty competitive, so you might as well stick in there.
So Drew Roy, Falling Skies, what's going to happen in the next year?
You know, I don't really know. I was talking with the writers. They've only given me just a couple of little tidbits. With the way that the show ended, it was quite a cliffhanger. So the way it's coming back surprised me. And what they've told me about the character, I'm really looking forward to being able to step up. It's more of a leader position, and it should be fun.
It's coming. I can see it. Falling Skies, one of the best shows on television, one of the best people out there in L.A. or anywhere. Drew Roy. Thanks, brother.
Always a pleasure.